soldiers.
Serving part-time in the Army National Guard instills pride that you and your family will share in.
A lot of pride, and they're just out there doing something every day and then serving the country as well.
I got my education because of the Guard. I got to travel a little bit and experience a whole different culture.
Visit NationalGuard.com to learn more about part-time service. Sponsored by the Nebraska Army National Guard. Aired by the Nebraska Broadcasters Association at this station.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet. KNTK FM Firth. 93.7 The Ticket.
Let's get it started. Let's get it started.
Welcome in, Husker fans. This is the Husker Afterparty Postgame Show. Coming at you live from the Koppel Chevrolet GMC studios in the heart of Lincoln, America. The Husker Afterparty Postgame Show is brought to you by Southeast Community College and Street Drive-In, Lincoln Federal Savings Bank. Now, here is your host, Connor Happer.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome in. It is the Husker After Party Postgame Show here on 93.7 The Ticket and the ticketfm.com. Brought to you by Southeast Community College and N Street Drive-In. Connor Happer and Jake Bachhoven with you this evening as Nebraska exercises some demons and puts it on Northwestern 56-7 tonight. They hit a huge play on the first drive of the game on a long pass to Samari Toure, punched it in 2 plays later, and we're off and running. The defense was their typical dominant self this evening. Let's run through a few things. As always, you can line things up, 402-464-5685, the Honda of Lincoln hotline. Give us a call there. We are streaming live. Bach, wave to the camera. No, you're on this one.
All right.
YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. Here we are. Join us this evening, and we're there's nothing backing us up tonight, so we're here as long as you guys want. To a point.
If you get too many drunk calls, we'll probably
to a point.
Call it
to a point. So join us this evening and give us a call, 402-464-5685. You can text into the Starter Heyman text line at that same number. Nebraska, 664 yards of total offense, the most ever put up by a team against a Pat Fitzgerald defense.
He's been doing that for a while, hasn't he?
Yeah, I think he's been around for quite some time, if I remember correctly. And they've had some pretty salty defenses. This one, not quite salty. Northwestern puts up 275 yards of total offense tonight, a very, very good number for Nebraska's defense. Nebraska's defense allows 37 yards on the ground. Here's where the game, this is pretty much all you need to know. Not only the total yardage, Northwestern gains 37 yards on the ground. Nebraska, 434 yards rushing this evening. That is a good number. The penalties came down. Nebraska made 2 offensive line substitutions, which we will talk about during this show tonight. They averaged on offense 9 yards per play. It was the most points that a Nebraska team has put up in the Scott Frost era. Adrian Martinez, 11 of 17 for 202 yards and a touchdown passing, and 8 carries for 57 yards on the ground. Nebraska's leading rusher tonight. Stick with me, folks. Jaquez Yant, 13 carries, rumbling, bumbling, stumbling.
Stiff arming.
And 127 yards. Never got in the end zone, though. And then Xavier Betts is actually the second leading rusher with his 83-yard touchdown run to begin the third quarter. A dominant effort tonight for Nebraska. And all I could think about the whole time was, man, this sets up a doozy next week. Same time, same place, Memorial Stadium. It is going to be rocking. And the crowd was awesome tonight.
Oh, yeah. I mean, and it was the first night game at Memorial Stadium for a long time. Obviously, like you said, next week's even going to be better. But, this week, the homecoming, the Hall of Fame, I think I'd have to start to rattle it off. The basketball, the volleyball, just teams of the past. Everybody was basically there. And this is, you couldn't draw it up any better. This is what we wanted. Both you and I predicted a blowout in this game and Nebraska's defense to look good.
Didn't quite get the shutout.
Didn't get the shutout, but that's fine because I'll trade that for looking at this offense. This is finally the UCF offense that we've been waiting for.
Somebody had to say it.
Yeah, and there it was. It might not be here all the time. It popped up for a Maryland game a few years ago. I don't know if it's going to be permanent moving forward, but it doesn't have to be this. But if they can do anything close to this and start, the maybe the offensive line changes, maybe Jockey Ant now being in the backfield can kind of lead to some momentum for this offense. The defense is already where it needs to be. If the offense can play like this or any resemblance of this is a dangerous team, and it's definitely the most momentum Nebraska's had under Scott Frost on the field.
It's their best. I mean, it's not the best team that they've beaten in the Scott Frost era, but this is the most complete win of the Scott Frost era. This is the best that I've felt after a Scott Frost era win at least since 2018. There was a lot of stuff that made me feel good in the back half of that season, but at least since then, this is the best I've felt about Nebraska actually winning a football game, doing it on their home field with an awesome crowd tonight. For whatever reason, it was juiced up. If you would like to join, I'm starting a petition that people can sign where we could get every home game for Nebraska at night.
Yeah, that would help.
There's just something about it, man. It's special. Me and Simple were talking about this a little bit on the pregame show. I don't know how I don't know what Nebraska's like if this game's at 11 a.m. and they got to roll the ball out there and it takes a little bit to I don't know. Maybe that's a reach. But they were juiced and they were ready to roll tonight.
Well, I think they outmatched this team quite a bit. Yeah, so I mean, I think it would have been good. But I mean, but you can't
hitting that play to start, and it just felt like Nebraska's rolling tonight.
Well, that's what it got it going too, and that's what's crazy about this team as opposed to last year, and the huge change. Although this offense hasn't looked great or run on all cylinders up into this point, they've still been a big play offense. Now they look really good. Continuing drives, but also have that big play possibility from a lot of different guys. And again, that might be it might be too much to say it looks like the offense that you once bought in of Scott Frost, but this is what it was. This is
for the moment.
For tonight, this is what you expected to see eventually, probably by year 4 at Nebraska. And it's just beautiful. Now, I was surprised, probably if you would have told me going into this game that Ryan Helinski had 256 yards in the air, I would have been surprised.
He was actually okay. Yeah.
He was not awful. And then, I mean, the other thing is, though, they just couldn't run the ball too well. They got sacked a few times. I mean, Nebraska's defense.
They had negative yards rushing at half.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that in that first half, it's just, and I loved it though too. Like you said, the environment, just being out there for a night game at Memorial Stadium. They did a really good job, by the way. You have to give the people over there at Memorial Stadium of adding things as you go on. Even throughout the night, the blowouts ensue. Bring out the fire. They start tossing fire around.
That was a great changeup. They moved the Killigan song to in between the first and the second quarter. There's a lot of stuff to go through tonight. I want to talk about the offensive line changes and what that means going forward. I want to have a few minutes to talk about Adrian Martinez. Because I noticed a couple things pregame and kind of what he's been going through a little bit this week. So we have plenty to get through here on the Husker Afterparty Postgame Show. Once again, brought to you by Southeast Community College in N Street Drive-In. Let's kick it off tonight with Vince from Wine Country. Vince, good evening. How are you?
Hello, fellas. How are you?
Excellent.
Well, exactly how I feel now. Before I get into going into the game, I mean, you look at all the close matchups we've had against Northwestern. I mean, including the Hail Mary back in 2013. But if I do say so, and this is pun intended, with the way we played tonight, Northwestern didn't have a damn prayer.
No,
that's how I see it. Pun intended, because all puns are intended. But anyhow, I think what tonight demonstrated is this. When you don't beat yourself and you play complementary football with all 3 phases, putting it together, this is what it looks like. You go out and you open up a can of kick-ass on Northwestern. Now, we're obviously going to face better teams, the second half of the season, but it's going to take a continued effort like we saw tonight as far as all 3 phases pulling their weight. But I tell you one thing, guys. When I watched Jaquiziant, there's just a certain it factor that he brought to the offense tonight because I don't know, guys. Were those tacklers or were those bowling pins?
I don't know. I was making a lot of sipple noises sitting up there in the press box. That's how I felt.
Yeah, well, exactly. But I mean, Sip gets enough of me during the week, so I'll give you guys some of me. But anyhow, I thought another key play to the game was it's 28-7. Northwestern's driving. Their offense looked like they were starting to gain some footing and that they were going to start to match a score for score. And then JoJo Doman and DeAndre Thomas jack them up, recover it. And I think what that play told Northwestern is not today.
Yep, that's where they pretty much shut it down. Thanks, Vince. Good to hear from you. Once again, you can join the Husker After Party Postgame show with us at 402-464-5685. Yeah, he's right. I mean, that was definitely where they kind of stepped out, or they stomped Northwestern out a little bit there. You get deep into Nebraska territory. You kind of have the feeling at the end of that first half, like, we might be headed toward a shootout here. The defense is getting a little,
they've just been scored on the previous drive.
Yeah. And that's unique. And, and Cam Taylor-Britt got burned on that one. And I don't know exactly what happened. I think it was pretty much just straight down the sideline there. And they get all the way down the field again. You're like, uh-oh, man, are we headed to a shootout? We're going to have to score a whole bunch more times in order to get this thing. And they would have had it anyway tonight. But the defense made a play when they had to. They forced a turnover when they had to, and it was a great. And that was the kind of stomp out moment that they lacked, obviously, last week. They got it tonight. It happened in the second quarter, so it's pretty good. On Yant, it's gonna be Yant week. I'll say this just to maybe temper expectations a little bit. The one thing about Northwestern is that I noticed, they're like extremely slow.
Yeah.
Like Yant was getting around guys. Like, yeah, he was stiff arming, but he was out in the open field. Like he would bounce some runs outside. I'm like, dude, you're 250 pounds.
Yeah.
Like you don't really need to be bouncing stuff outside. And yet he would get to the edge. And I'm like, how do you do that? I think it's because Northwestern is hella slow. Like they're just really slow. So we'll see. Michigan's not that slow.
No.
They're a little bit of a different animal with their athletes on the defensive end. So we'll see with Yant. But here's the deal. Hot hand is a hot hand. And Yant certainly has it right now.
Well, and it makes you wonder about, I know they said he wasn't quite ready physically.
He looks like he's lost a lot of weight.
And maybe that is. He's listed at 245 on the roster. That's hard. I mean, that's a lot. So I don't know if he's still.
He looks like he's cut down since camp.
Yeah, and I know that was the plan. And sometimes that happens too. I know in the season you could say, why weren't we playing that guy earlier? But a lot of times, especially with new players, kind of got to get used to the playbook. It'll take a few games to get going and practices to get you there. That being said, I think just at least this, out of all of the skills that these running backs have, I think Jock Yant's stiff arm is probably the strongest.
Yeah.
So I think that he's definitely going to be used. Whether it's the feature piece or the complimentary piece, Ramir played pretty good tonight. I think you're kind of close to knowing what you're going to get out of Ramir, but he looked better behind that offensive line, which is the big story. No doubt. The two new guys stepping in, starting with Noelle and Prohaska, and this offensive line looked great. There wasn't a whole lot of pre-snap problems and rushing the ball. I mean, that's all week we were thinking, what can you fix? Special teams or offensive line first? Well, maybe just some personnel changes on the offensive line will kickstart this.
Well, they fixed special teams by fixing offensive line because they only punted once.
That's right. That
helps. It was an 84-yard punt.
What a punt that was!
Let's go, Will Pristup.
Yes.
And they went for it on that last fourth down. It was like, we're not gonna, we're just gonna fold on punting for the night.
Yes.
We'll let that 84-yard one sit and just make people think.
That's an A for punting on the day.
It's fixed, right? we made every extra point. We didn't have to kick any field goals. We fair caught every punt, and it was at least a neutral grade.
Did they not have any returns? They didn't have many kick return attempts. No punt return attempts.
Yeah,
no.
so they only had the two kick return attempts, the one that opened the game, and then the one after the Northwestern touchdown.
Yeah.
And I think they were both fair caught.
Yep.
And then the punt returns were all fair caught, I think, by Oliver Martin. Welcome back, Oliver Martin.
Oh, yeah.
By the way. Oliver Martin and Xavier Betts are huge, by the way, for this team. We'll get in more into that as we go on throughout the show. But we want to keep getting to you guys here, 402-464-5685. John, hold on 10 seconds here. We'll get a station identification.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet, KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
All right, once again, Connor Happer, Jake Bachoven with you on the Husker Afterparty Postgame Show, brought to you by Southeast Community College and N Street Drive-In. We go now to the Honda of Lincoln hotline to John. John, you're on the postgame show. How are you?
Hey guys, how's it going?
Good.
What a great win. It's about time. Offense looked good. It was Northwestern. I get it. But this is what this offense was supposed to look like. The defense probably wasn't as crisp as it had been in the last two games, but they still played a whale of a game. And props for the punting. One punt.
Yeah.
84 yards. I mean, I've never been so happy to see a good punt in my life.
It was
after what has been happening.
John, I'm telling you, it was the loudest cheer of the night. Like, there were some good pops tonight, but when that thing was rolling out inside the 10, it was the loudest it got in there all night.
I bet it was. It was.
John, I think we lost him. But.
John, John's gone. I don't know what happened to John. He was still on, but then he kind of just stopped in the middle of the sentence. Thanks for the call, though, John. We appreciate it. I'm telling you, and there were some good pops tonight. Like I said, the crowd was very good. Once again, sign my petition for all the night games, all the games in Lincoln to be at night. I couldn't stop thinking about next week. As Nebraska was putting it on Northwestern, and we'll get to that during the show as well. But a very good crowd tonight. They had, like Bach said, all these different people that were honored, including the 2021 Big Ten baseball champs.
Yep.
Who got a nice pop there before the game or during the game, and who else got honored down there on the sideline?
The Hall of Fame.
Yeah, the Hall of Fame weekend, right?
Which, by the way, they opened up. Eric Crouch was like in the middle, and they're just like Heisman Trophy winner and this other stuff. You got to finish with and the Heisman Trophy winner, Eric. That's my one complaint.
I'm with you.
Yeah,
I'm with you. Eric Crouch doesn't get his due.
They just got to put him in the middle of 5 Hall of Famers, and they just started with the Heisman. They're just like, and Heisman Trophy winner, and they all did these other things. It's like, no. We're in Memorial Stadium. This is college football, like one of the most tradition-rich places. You got to finish with the big Heisman winner.
And then they did the fire thing in the third quarter. After the third quarter, they shut all the lights out and went red. And it was a great scene. They showed it on the broadcast. I left the game at halftime to get back here. And that looked really great. And then they had the fire twirlers.
Yeah,
there was a lot of fire. There's a lot of fire going on tonight. Scotty McCreery singing the national anthem.
Right,
my buddy Scott McCreery, who I call him Scott. You know, we're guys, of course.
You met him once.
And so it was just a really good environment tonight.
You mentioned the Irish thing. What's the Irish song? The Killigans.
The Killigans.
They usually play that even at day games.
Yes.
When Nebraska's trailing at times?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, because that moment was really cool, and I hadn't seen it, at least in a few years that I remember, and it just felt really cool because they're promoting the Irish vacation next week or next year, I should say, when Northwestern and Nebraska open up the season. That was a very cool moment, too. Everything was cool, but part of it is this football team. That's what it is.
Doc, you're right. That's what I tweeted during the game. I was like, hey, you know what? It's like after having like 4 or 5 beers, and you're like, hey, you know what? This isn't so bad. This song is bad.
Yeah.
But actually in real life, like when you're sober, it's horrible.
It's not great.
But then, you're up 21-7 and here comes the song. And you're like, I kind of like this song. This isn't bad.
The lyrics could use some work, I think, but it's a cool little song. But really, I mean,
but you're right. It's all about the team, man.
Because it was cool. I mean, that's the feeling, is that when you get 85,000 strong or whatever it is at this point, I don't know what the announced attendance was, but
87, I think.
It's like the belief is back, though. That's what's important, is that, you watch this team the last 2 weeks, and I know, and again, going into this week, we'll probably talk about it more, but this week.
Let's do it.
It's all the problems in special teams and offensive line and things that made it look like this team was taking a huge step, but not great. And obviously maybe they're not at that point yet, but it's just like, it's the first time in years to me that it felt like the whole crowd believed Nebraska was going to win and was going to be good, and I don't know. Maybe that's
Buck. No,
that's something I felt like I picked up on.
Now put a pin in that and think about whatever you thought about the Michigan game going into tonight. And I think everybody thought Nebraska was going to win tonight, but how is it going to look was a huge question. I don't think many people thought it was going to look like that. So now this puts a totally different spin on next week's game, where you're going to walk into that stadium with you're going to be foaming at the mouth. Man.
Oh, yeah.
This is an opportunity for Nebraska to win a huge game on a primetime national stage and show off their crowd. Like, they had a bunch of recruits in tonight, and, it was a big basketball visit weekend too. My guess is there's going to be a pretty good push to get as many kids as they can in for next weekend as well, because it is going to be hot in there next weekend. That's all I could think about the entire game. It's just like the Northwestern game was like a miniature version of what we're going to see. And it was next week, and it was a great environment tonight.
Yeah, in Michigan, by the way, I mean, we were all kind of hoping they'd find their way into the top 10. There's been, I think, 4 teams above them that have lost today. So, and they won impressively. So I think that they're, I mean, they might get 11th or something, but they're going to be borderline top 10. And Nebraska, you feel like even at 3-3, has a pretty darn good chance against them. They look good, don't get me wrong, but so does Nebraska.
They're beatable. I mean, they're not going to. I mean, with Nebraska's defense, the way that they're playing, it's not like Nebraska's going to need to score 40 to win. That's not how they're playing anymore.
I certainly think that Nebraska has the better quarterback if it comes down to that.
That's right. They didn't know what they were doing today. They had McNamara, and then they brought in the freshman McCarthy for a couple plays just randomly when the game was kind of still in the balance against Wisconsin. And by the way, if we're doing long-term look here, Wisconsin
should win that one.
Wisconsin cannot run the football. They do not have a running back, and now they also don't have a quarterback. They didn't have a quarterback before he got hurt, Graham Mertz, and now he's hurt. So and then Chase Wolf came in and fumbled and threw a pick. So it keeps on getting a little bit more optimistic. Now, the other side of it is, you wish you could have Illinois back.
Oh, boy, do you. They would destroy Illinois, I feel like, at this point in time.
It's just the saddest thing.
It is, but I mean, and to somebody's point, because people are going to say this, maybe people that want to tone it down a little bit, is that Northwestern's bad. And Northwestern isn't good. But this is what you do to teams that aren't good. Not let them hang around and lose like you did against Illinois. That's the steps that Nebraska has taken. And that's what the fear was for a lot of people all week. It's all these Northwestern games are always close, and Nebraska has had so many mistakes. I think this is going to be close. You knew Northwestern wasn't good going in. I'm still convinced of it, but now I believe that Nebraska, this is what good teams do to bad teams. And it wasn't like let them hang around or anything. It was from the get-go, stomp them out. And you mentioned that big play there in the second quarter too. There's bound to be a glimmer of hope at some point, but 56-7 with the total yardage, the backups even burning clock and getting touchdown drives. This is beautiful.
I mean, this is not last week where it was a dominant effort in the stats, where we're talking about Nebraska doubling up Michigan State in yards gained and converting double the third downs that they had and whatever. And it's just like, how did they lose that football game? This is a dominant effort all the way around tonight for Nebraska. And that's regardless of the opponent, that's not nothing. So like I said, want to hear from you guys, 402-464-5685. We will be hearing from Scott Frost. That audio is being collected right now, so we will get to that on the other side of the break. Let's a couple things here that we're going to just kind of set up for the rest of the show here. I want to talk about Nebraska's defense and the projectability of that, the changes on the offensive line, Adrian Martinez. Like there's a whole bunch of different stuff that I want to talk about in depth on this show. And feel free to join us here, 402-464-5685. Line them up there. We'll come back. More up next on the Husker Afterparty Postgame Show on 93.7 The Ticket.
Last year, the average starting pay for an SCC truck driver training program graduate was $44,720. Southeast Community College can now make that a reality in only 8 weeks with its professional truck driver training class starting in October. SCC's fleet of 12 trucks and professional instructors will prepare you for a new career. You'll end the course with your Class A CDL. Learn more about SCC's professional truck driver training class at southeast.edu/truckdriver. SCC, your path to possible.
State Farm, this is Bill.
It finally got me, Bill.
What's that, Rick?
The Clark Street crater, the mother of all potholes.
Oh,
Year after rim-wrecking year, it's tormented the people of this town. It got me good.
But you know, State Farm's got you too.
You hear that? You ain't nothing.
You trash talking a pothole?
Yes, I am.
Go with the one that's here to help life go right. State Farm.
Call your local State Farm agent, Vinny Krekak, at 402-474-1173.
Action Plumbing, Heating, Air, and Electric is your go-to service call in Lincoln and Southeast Nebraska for expertise, convenience, and reliability. As your home and business needs expand, so do the services Action can deliver. Now positioned as Southeast Nebraska's premier installer of charging stations for electronic vehicles, they're always committed to a job done right. Give them a call or visit their website at actionlincoln.com. Action, your proud sponsor of the Ticket Postgame Show.
Lay the groundwork for more harvesting capacity when you order new John Deere combines and headers during Landmark Implement's early order program. Whether you're looking to improve your existing combine, corn head, or flex draper, or you've been wanting to update to a new model year, now is the time to upgrade. Get the very latest harvesting equipment and technology that fit your operations needs. Get your new John Deere harvest equipment built just the way you want. Contact your local Landmark Implement for full details and experience the Landmark difference.
The Mercado by Certified Piedmontese Beef is Lincoln's newest full-service butcher shop, offering premium fresh-cut steaks and house-made sausages daily from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. They exclusively carry certified Piedmontese beef raised right here in Nebraska. When shopping at the Mercado, you're not only supporting local, but also enjoying the official beef of Nebraska athletics. With prime-grade tenderness and unparalleled nutritionals, your backyard barbecue is about to get a serious upgrade. Stop into the Mercado today, located off 84th and Havelock in Lincoln.
Hey, it's Sean Callahan, and football season is here, and Tanner's Bar and Grill at 30th and Yankee Hill has food and drink specials every night for all the games. Enjoy jumbo pork tenderloin for $8.99 and 90-cent wings for Monday Night Football, or Comfort Thursday Night Football with chicken fried chicken, steak, or pork for just $9.99 and $20 Coors Light aluminum buckets. Watch college football on Saturdays with an Aggie sandwich for $9.99 and Coors Light specials, and catch NFL Sundays with Bloody Marys and more. That's Tanner's Bar and Grill at 30th and Yankee Hill.
Early break with Sip and Jake.
Like, it's almost like what I read here is it's surreal. According to Pro Football Focus data, Michigan State blitzed Nebraska 4 times on 47 dropbacks, but got pressure 28 times, including 7 sacks. Okay? They blitzed only 4 times on 47 dropbacks, but got pressure 28 times.
Early break with Sip and Jake from 6 to 8 every weekday morning.
You could celebrate a Nebraska football win with chips or wings and your favorite beverage, but Beatrice Bakery has all sorts of cakes to celebrate all victories this fall. Coffee cake, breakfast bread, artisan cakes, and especially Grandma's fruit cake. No one remembers who brought the chips, but everyone remembers who brought the cake. Make your parties memorable and your Mondays at the office better with cakes from Beatrice Bakery. They ship nationwide. Check out BeatriceBakery.com, proud sponsors of the Nebraska Shrine Bowl. Welcome to our world of yum.
Back to the Husker Afterparty Postgame Show. Brought to you by Southeast Community College on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back, Husker Afterparty Postgame Show here on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Connor Happer, Jake Bachhoven with you. Give us a call right now on the Honda of Lincoln hotline, 402-464-5685. Would love to hear your thoughts tonight on Nebraska's 56-7 win over Northwestern. They improved to 3-3 on the year, and a big test awaits next week with Michigan coming to town. I'd like to talk a second about Adrian Martinez. So I was down there on the field in the pregame, and it's good. You get up close and you see, and now he talked on Monday too. So we've been up close a couple times this week. And I actually hadn't heard about the rumors of him being hurt or what was going on with that this week until Frost said something about it on Thursday. And then, you with that in mind, you get a closer look and you kind of give him the up down, and he's got his jaw, like his mouth, basically rubber banded together. Like he's got the when you have braces and they put rubber bands.
Does he?
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
You get rubber bands on there, so he has a limited mobility of his mouth, and I'm watching him, and he's not really opening his mouth, and he has trouble like putting in his mouthpiece when they're standing there doing the lineup in the pregame. And I'm like, holy crap, this guy has like a screwed up jaw, and nobody would really know about it.
Yeah.
Nobody really, and they showed it a little bit on the broadcast tonight. It kind of illuminated it a little bit, but I saw that pregame and like this guy's just going to play through it, and we're not going to hear anything about it. So
he's tough as nails.
He is impressive, man.
Oh my goodness.
And guess what? And you know, when you take the kind of hit that he did last week against Michigan State right up underneath the chin, that obviously put him in that situation. He had to miss a drive it looked like actually he had one of his bottom teeth that was either missing or got chipped off or something like that. And you know, that was a pretty vicious, a pretty serious hit, or at least it got him in the right place last week. And you would think that you might have a little bit of hesitancy putting your head into something with your jaw being basically rubber banded together, taped shut, right? Nope. Wouldn't have noticed. Would never have noticed. So there, with all the talk of lupus and leprosy and stuff like that, like the dude is just tough as hell. And that needs to be said, and that needs to be known about. And I don't know, maybe they don't want to talk about it. Maybe he addresses it in the post game here, but he just went out there and we would have never known anything about it.
No, I didn't know that. That's crazy. And obviously everybody's, I think, respect for Adrian Martinez is growing. Might have missed a pass or two tonight. I heard a few groans, but he makes up for it the next play, obviously.
He missed the one to Betts over his head and then ran it in the next play.
Yeah. And he missed two right wide open in the middle, but he hit somebody else. I think it was Lure on the outside on one. But, there's going to be a mistake here or there for every quarterback in every game. But how about this? How about that triple option that they were bringing into it? He's had a tendency, they'd throw it in there and you go, man, he'd be a good option quarterback. And they took that to heart this week because that was like their base offense. Then they started throwing passes out of the triple option. That thing was awesome. And I think it's got a future for this Nebraska offense, which has traditionally had trouble getting ground, yards up the middle. Jock Yant might be a little bit of a help to that too. He's breaking tackles and bumbling through guys as well. But yeah, I mean, a little bit more option I think is needed now because it looks like such a weapon for him, and Adrian can run it really well. That fake pitch he had on the touchdown run, just a thing of beauty.
There are times where I'm like, all right, this is a little dangerous. We're running option short side, and the relationship, the pitch relationship isn't like exactly right on, and he makes a decision a little bit like it happens a couple of times, but that's always what you're going to be dealing with when you're basically running an option.
Yeah, option quarterbacks do that.
Yeah, right. So there's a couple times where I get scared about it, but I trust his decision making. He and then he could pull out the Houdini play every once in a while too, which has happened for him. So I just wanted to say that and give him some much needed praise. Maybe not. Maybe we feel like we praise him too much, but he's got a lot on his shoulders.
That's good context because I figured it was probably hurting him a little bit, but
he's
hurting, and it just gives you that extra little bit of respect, at least for me, is that he doesn't want the attention. He doesn't really seem to want to talk about it. It's just maybe because he'd be feared that a defender would try to line him up for it or something, but that's you get a little bit of extra respect just saying, yeah, don't put the attention on me. I think we're rolling fine.
No
we don't need any talk about my injuries.
You don't think that means something in the leadership category? With his guys and with his new offensive line now, with his repaired offensive line, which we'll get into too. I think it matters a lot. Let's go to the phones here. We got Mike on the Honda of Lincoln hotline. Good evening, Mike.
Hello, gentlemen. I got 3 rapid points for y'all. Okay.
All right. Fire away.
All right. 1, Scott Frost, he is 5-1 against the spread. That's really the record that matters.
Yep.
2, the gentlemen should always wear suits. The players should always wear suits coming in. They just look so smooth. And the last one, I was thinking about this. Now, let's say Scott Frost, he gets to 6 wins and he goes bowling. Some fan base who remember the glory days will be like, it's not good enough. Let's keep in mind, if you replace Scott Frost, you may be replacing him for a coach who will want to be rebuilding the program. And do you really want to be rebuilding the program and risk a 5-2 whatever record of paid to coaches? I don't think so.
Right.
So I believe if he gets to 6 wins, it would be in our best interest to keep him. That's all I got to say, and thank you.
Yeah, and thanks for the call, Mike. I don't think there's any way they fire him if they get to 6. They would have to go seriously downhill at this point, especially with the way that they're playing. All right, let's go through the rapid-fire points then. Number 1, good teams win, great teams cover.
Absolutely, it's true.
Nebraska 5-1 against ATS this year. Yes, take
one really was ugly, but other than that,
we don't talk about the one.
Yeah.
The number 2, suits. I'm pro suits. I'm with it. I saw. Did we notice what Scott did for the suit? So they all wore suits for the Unity walk or whatever today when they got off the bus, and they took a little longer walk. I don't know, whatever. And Frost was wearing a polo underneath the suit jacket.
Cool. That is so cool. I got to see that one. That's very fashionable.
I was like, did you just forget? And they just threw a suit on him. And it's like, we're wearing suits today. No, I'm wearing a polo.
Scott is not very fashionable, actually, in general. I've noticed
the long like Under Armour sleeves that I thought were really cool, like when I was in 7th grade,
right?
And I would like wear them to school because I thought they were super cool, but they're not a fashion piece whatsoever. Yeah,
it's just in some of the stuff that sometimes when you'd expect him, like when they were dealing with whatever it was right before the season about having a special teams guy on the field or whatever.
Yeah,
and he's just like wearing gym shorts and stuff. You're like, they need somebody to tell him, kind of dress Scott. I think you need a dress Scott guy.
Scott needs a dresser.
Yeah.
A stylist.
Yes, he does.
It's high on the priority list.
Now
we fixed the run game.
Yep.
We fixed special teams.
Small problem. Yeah.
We fixed special teams. Now we need to style Scott a little bit better.
And he was wearing the Did you see the 255 during the game?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's wearing the Tom Osborne's clothing line.
Yeah. I got my hat, my sunglasses that they left up there for the media.
Did you?
Yeah. And a pen. I lost the pen already.
That's
though.
Awesome.
Bach, the amount of pens I lose, you don't even want to know. So that pen had no chance.
Pens are tough to hold on to. We got a big bucket of them over here, but I would wonder, like, that'd be a good question once I die and move on to the next life, is ask how many pens I've lost.
Yeah, no, if I could have a running log of all the pens I lost, it would be disgusting.
We need to, the last bit of his, I guess you already addressed a little bit. I think that whole Frost on the hot seat talk, I can throw it away this week, which is going to be nice.
No doubt about it. It's a big game, but it doesn't have the weight of like the previous big games. You know what I mean? It's a big deal because we're going into it thinking Nebraska's going to win. Now, if they get blown out or whatever, it's a different story and things change again. It goes week to week, but that's kind of the pattern that we're in right now. But you feel good after they win 56-7 tonight. They took care of business, probably plus some, I think. And the fact of the matter is their path becomes a little bit clearer to whatever you think they can get to. As we just mentioned, their remaining opponents, we'll see what happens with Michigan this week. Minnesota's after that. They don't look special. Then you have your bye. You get Purdue. That's a game that you feel like you will be favored in probably. Then you get, I think, Wisconsin after that, and they don't look, or Ohio State maybe after
first,
that.
I think, yeah.
And Ohio State's Ohio State, so we'll see what happens when they get there. Then Wisconsin, not impressive at the moment.
Wisconsin might
they
not
might
make
be
a bowl.
They might be in real trouble.
Yeah,
the way that they look right now. And then Iowa.
Yeah,
who's always Iowa, and they're tough, but I wouldn't count Nebraska out of that game.
No, but man, is that team physical watching them on Friday night.
Yeah, they're tough.
Yeah. But I do like a lot of that. I've heard just, again, rumblings around the stadium, a lot of talk about searching out for 6, trying to get to 6. I think that's the clear goal of everybody in the fan base. And
so if you want to do it the conventional way, it's you feel probably pretty good at this point about Purdue and Minnesota.
Yeah.
And then you find one more.
And Wisconsin, I think, I think Nebraska's ahead of where Wisconsin is by far right now. So, and the other thing that I've always said, regardless of win total and all that other stuff, is convince me that the team's getting better. And I'm convinced. This is the best 3-week stretch I think we've had of the Scott Frost era. Like you said, maybe in 2018, toward the end of the year, you get happy. But remember, that started 0-6, so that was pretty rough.
It's a good point, Bach. I mean, this is 5 games in a row now where I feel like they've kind of, last week was a tough one to swallow because I think you're right. Like all that stuff still happened, and you could feel good about the bones of it, but they got to find a way to win that football game. But if you take it with the context of what they were against Illinois and then how they are right here, I mean, it's a totally different team. They've put together really 5 consecutive pretty solid football games that they could hang their hats on. You'd rather have one less loss, maybe 2 less losses at this point. But tonight was a big deal to once again play that well, play even better, and then obviously win in the way that they did at the scoreboard as well. A lot of that, and by the way, you guys can still call, text in 402-464-5685, the Honda of Lincoln hotline and the Starter Heyman text line. They're open for you right now. Here's what we got. So come on. Yeah, hop in. Let's go.
We need you.
402-464-5685. And that's where you get into the offensive line changes that were made tonight. Nebraska inserts true freshman left tackle Teddy Prohaska. They bring in a new left guard in Noradine Newilly. They keep Cam Jurgens. They move Turner Corcoran over to right tackle, and then they keep Sichterman at right guard, and that's their kind of newly built patchwork offensive line or whatever it might be. It certainly didn't look patchwork tonight. Those guys got after it. I thought Corcoran looked better on the right side, certainly better than Benhart has. Benhart's having a real tough go of it. He came in with the second unit, immediately got a false start tonight. He's got to get out of his own way right now. But Prohaska he'll learn as we go, and he'll certainly face much tougher competition with what Michigan's going to be bringing off the edge next week, because they always have a guy or two who could do that. But boy, it's a good look. It's a really good look. And Newilly plays. Frost mentioned the pad level at practice on Thursday. Yep, that's a offensive line you can run the ball behind, and that's what they need.
Yeah, and like you said, the biggest thing is just get out of your own way. Don't make the mistakes pre-snap, and they did a great job of that today. Nebraska overall, 19 penalty yards. Oh, please sign me up for that every game. So a really good game in that category.
Buck, this is the true moment of it. Like, I don't even remember 3 of them.
Yeah.
The one was Benhart, because I was like, oh, here, shoot. I don't remember the first 3. I don't remember them at all.
I can't put them together either.
I don't remember at all. That means they weren't significant, or weren't like, oh, here we go again.
Yeah. There wasn't that moment today. There was not that, and that was maybe more important than anything that you felt going into the game. I would have put that as one of my major keys. If I knew that Nebraska had the possibility of putting up 650 and 56, then I would have changed my mind. But more than anything, going into the game, I just wanted a moment where I didn't go, here we go again. Here's the problem that resurfaces week after week. All it takes is just stringing a few of those together. We don't talk about the problems snapping the ball anymore, do we? Because it's not been a problem
consistently.
Recently. Yeah. So hopefully they can put a few more of these together. And I don't expect every game to limit yourself to 19 penalty yards. You'd be one of the best teams in the nation. I don't know if you can make that drastic of a change, but but a lot of it's just don't jump pre-snap, because that's been one of their biggest problems. This offensive line came in there and did that, but not just that. Clearing out the way for the runners all night long.
They had creases.
Yeah, it was beautiful, and you obviously got to give Newelly and Prohaska a lot of credit for that. And Newelly, a transfer over there from Colorado State, jumping up a level. So congrats to him. Probably getting that confidence tonight, knowing that he can do it at the Big Ten level. And Teddy, very much the same thing. Frame of 6'9", 305. He doesn't look very chunky at all, right?
Nope.
So I think there's a lot more to that frame that they can add in terms of maybe a little bit of chunk and a little bit of muscle.
Guy can move, though.
Yeah, and he's going to be, he's going to be really good. That's a huge frame that they can build on. It's exciting.
I got to tell you the truth, too. And I'm sure we'll talk about this. I don't know if I should apologize to Teddy Prohaska. I saw him as a recruit, and a lot of people around here did who cover the team, and we just kind of, met it. It was like, nah, I don't know. I don't know. And I was talking to Parker a little bit about it tonight, and was like, Parker Gabriel from the Journal-Star is like, how did we just miss this, or what happened? And he made the point that I thought was pretty astute. And he said it probably doesn't hurt him to actually go up against guys his size with just how long he is. Like, if he's got to go out and reach guys, at the level that he was playing,
ducking under him.
And that's not an excuse for us to just kind of poo-poo the whole thing. because I'll be the first to say I didn't see him breaking into the starting lineup in his 6th game in his freshman year. That's for sure, and far further down the line than that. But man, it's a quick rise for him, and they put him in there, and it felt like he was their 6th best offensive lineman going into the year, and now he's clearly in the top 5. And you play your best guys, and that's exactly what they did tonight. So shout out to Teddy Prohaska. He's proven a lot of people wrong, I think.
Well, it's just don't put too much on yourself. Again, he maybe doesn't look like he could probably use a year or two in the weight room, maybe. But he's. And it's just kind of what you want out of your tackle, or you want him to be able to play guard. How much you want him to add weight or whatever. But not a whole lot of true freshmen can come in and play at a Big Ten level. And offensive linemen in general are really hard, even for recruiting services and coaches, to decide which one of these giant guys that have been pushing around tiny defensive ends in high school will translate.
He was rated highly by the 24/7 Sports Composite, by Rivals and all that stuff. And we saw him play a lot at Elkhorn South, and it was just like, I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm not sure I see it. He played both ways for them, and I didn't really see it. And I think he's proven a lot of people wrong so far. And like Parker said, it doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt probably to actually have a matchup that's going to be realistic when he moves on to the college level.
Well, and I'm really interested in seeing that next week. Like you said, I don't think Northwestern has necessarily pass rushing speed demons that Michigan will probably bring a little bit more to the table. And that's where Ben Hart really struggled. I mean, I guess especially against Michigan State, where it's like, this guy might have to play guard.
He looks like a guard to me.
He just doesn't maybe have the quickness to work
quickness.
with. The outside rushers that you're going to see at this level. So we'll see a little bit more of that as the season goes on. But man, what a debut for those guys. And just, it's just hard, all throughout the week, talking about how much of a difference is it going to make. Continuity is important on the offensive line. So that's what's even more exciting is these guys, this is their first time together as a group, and they're out there, 11 yards per carry, whatever it is, 8 yards per carry for the night, 8.1 yards per carry for everybody together. It can't, you can't really go a whole lot up from there as far as statistics goes, but I think this group's going to definitely get significantly better the more they play together.
They want to crease run. So if you're not consistently running it, Nebraska was consistently running it tonight. But if they're not in a game like Michigan next week, where it's going to be tougher, if they could just open up one hole and all of a sudden it's Xavier Betts catching an option pitch or whatever it is, or Jockey Ant rumbling his way through there and stiff arming people, that's how you keep drives going. Here, this is a good one from the text line as well. 402-464-5685. Give Chancellor Brewington some love. He pancakes guys every time in the goal line package when he goes in motion. He does. He comes in when Nebraska gets inside the 5-yard line, and sometimes they've thrown it to him a couple times. I think he caught a touchdown one of those games, maybe 2 this year. But man, it always feels like when they're down there and they score, that Chancellor Brewington is the guy who's making that last seal block. And there was at least one of those Adrian runs in the first quarter where he was the guy and sealing off a touchdown run. Absolutely. Shout out to him.
I did notice him going in toward, near the goal line. So, and I remember it's going to be funny. That's going to stick with me is the day that he came here. It was just kind of, it wasn't a big deal. He just came from a JUCO
Northern Arizona.
Yeah, Northern Arizona. That's right. So I was like, I don't think he's going to figure into the wide receiver room. And then there was those injuries at tight end. So they kind of worked him out there. You got to give credit to him, not just him, but everybody out there blocking. We're going to give a lot of the offensive line credit, but you don't put up numbers like that without the guys outside blocking tremendously as well. So
no doubt about it. Like I said, 402-464-5685. The Husker After Party Postgame Show is brought to you by Southeast Community College and N Street Drive-In. We will hear from Scott Frost after the break, and I want to talk a little in depth about Nebraska's defense. Nebraska's defense, who just continues to show up with their lunch pail and get after it every night. You can call us, text us, 402-464-5685. We'll be right back. More up next on the Husker After Party Postgame Show.
You could celebrate a Nebraska football win with chips or wings and your favorite beverage, but Beatrice Bakery has all sorts of cakes to celebrate all victories this fall. Coffee cake, breakfast bread, artisan cakes, and especially Grandma's fruit cake. No one remembers who brought the chips, but everyone remembers who brought the cake. Make your parties memorable and your Mondays at the office better with cakes from Beatrice Bakery. They ship nationwide. Check out BeatriceBakery.com. Proud sponsor of the Nebraska Shrine Bowl. Welcome to our world of yum.
Another packed fall sports season means it's time to get to N Street Drive-In to fill up on all your beverage needs. Right now, they have tons of Oktoberfest beers, and you can check out their new Empyrean, New Belgium, and Prost selections as their beers of the month. Also, make sure to download the new N Street Drive-In app to order online and to set up delivery right to your front door. And don't forget their top-notch Crowler fill system. N Street Drive-In, your one-stop beverage shop at 1801 Oak Street.
Welcome to today's episode of The Great Unknowns. Last time, we talked about why chickens can't just cross the road in peace. Today's topic is the great unknowns of the future. Like, am I ready for what life throws at me? Well, that answer is easy. Just call a local State Farm agent. State Farm agents will help you plan for the what-ifs in life so you know what to expect if the unexpected happens. When you want the real deal, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Call your local State Farm agent, Vinny Krekak, at 402-474-1173.
Want a free pair of Nebraska football tickets? Head to theticketfm.com's contest tab and register for a free pair of tickets each week of a home game, courtesy of Ben Bleicher with Professional Realty Group of Woods Brothers and 93.7 The Ticket.
The Mercado by Certified Piedmontese Beef is Lincoln's newest full-service butcher shop, offering premium fresh-cut steaks and house-made sausages daily from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. They exclusively carry certified Piedmontese beef raised right here in Nebraska. When shopping at the Mercado, you're not only supporting local, but also enjoying the official beef of Nebraska Athletics. With prime meat tenderness and unparalleled nutritionals, your backyard barbecue is about to get a serious upgrade. Stop into the Mercado today, located off 84th and Havelock in Lincoln.
Tractor Supply Distribution Center in Waverly is now hiring for all shifts. They're a 24/7 facility and a clean environment to work in. There's potential to earn up to $25.25 per hour with opportunities for overtime. They also offer a retention bonus, as new team members are eligible for a bonus as high as $1,000. Come be a part of the Tractor Supply team. Apply today at www.tractorsupply.jobs.
Hey, it's Sean Callahan, and football season is here, and Tanner's Bar and Grill at 30th and Yankee Hill has food and drink specials every night for all the games. Enjoy jumbo pork tenderloin for $8.99 and 90-cent wings for Monday Night Football, or come for Thursday Night Football with chicken fried chicken, steak, or pork for just $9.99 and $20 Coors Light aluminum buckets. Watch college football on Saturdays with an eggy sandwich for $9.99 and Coors Light specials, and catch NFL Sundays with Bloody Marys and more. That's Tanner's Bar and Grill at 30th and Yankee Hill.
Last year, the average starting pay for an SEC truck driver training program graduate was $44,720. Southeast Community College can now make that a reality in only 8 weeks with its professional truck driver training class starting in October. SCC's fleet of 12 trucks and professional instructors will prepare you for a new career. You'll end the course with your Class A CDL. Learn more about SCC's professional truck driver training class at southeast.edu/truckdriver. SCC, your path to possible.
Back to the Husker Afterparty Postgame Show, brought to you by Southeast Community College on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Hey, this song's actually acceptable now. Bach, you weren't here last week, but I just had to shut it off last week because it was bad. But now we can actually do this.
Bring them out, bring them out. Bring them out, bring them out. Bring them out, bring them out. Bring them out, bring them out.
All right, Nebraska wins tonight 56-7 over Northwestern. Here's your stat. Nebraska, it was their 11th meeting with Northwestern since joining the Big Ten Conference. They pull ahead in the series 6-5.
The battle for the NU is swinging Nebraska's way.
That is exactly right. I think we are back. We are back. Here is
take that, Northwestern.
Scott Frost tonight on how it was different.
We're a lot better team than we have been. We have a lot of work to do still. This was one game. This is a world of, particularly you guys in the press, of exaggeration and hyperbole, and this was one game. But this is what I know this group can do, because we got talented guys in a lot of places, and it's a good first step. We still have a lot of work to do.
I got to tell you, man, that attitude, and I know, like maybe you read it as just why is he being a jerk? That is a very, very welcome attitude, because for me anyway, because you think about this team and they've had a lot of lows over the last 3 years, and they've had a few highs as well, but always after that high comes a huge letdown. That's been the script on Nebraska for the last 3 years. You think back to the huge win over Penn State last year, and they immediately drop a bomb the next week against Illinois. It looked horrendous. And he talked about that after the game. The week of preparation, just something was missing there. So that's a message to his team saying, we're not done. We got to keep the pedal to the metal. And I think that's a reason why they scored 56 tonight too. And they had a lot of that, by the end of the third quarter. I couldn't believe when the fourth quarter started. I was like, there's 15 more minutes of this game. But that's the way you kind of want to feel. And they put the pedal to the metal tonight, and I think that's the message going forward and going into next week.
I like how Frost is taking shots at the media and talking about underground
whatever,
like
man.
Media boards this past week, or
do what you got to do.
Message boards.
Whatever you got to do. Whatever you got to do to
He
get your
can't
team
say
motivated.
don't read the newspaper. He clearly reads the newspaper.
He definitely reads the newspaper. I guess he reads the message boards too.
Yeah.
Because I didn't even hear the whole
I didn't hear that either.
lupus thing.
Yeah. But I do like, you're absolutely right though. I mean, that's been a huge problem with them is getting momentum and keeping it going. Well, just keeping it going. And it would be hard to think that you felt you arrived before, playing a top 10 Michigan team next week. You would think there'd be no lack of motivation, but it's just been a problem in the past. So, I like this attitude too. That's exactly what a coach would. I mean, this is what Saban does. This is, no matter how bad Alabama can win a title.
What? He's Nick Saban?
He's Nick Saban, which I hope is good enough for all the people that wanted him to be Tom Osborne when he was hired. But
at least, we could just hope that he's not Urban Meyer.
Well, yeah. Urban. Hey, Urban's having a good night. It'll be a bad morning. Hopefully Urban doesn't know yet, and he's still having a good night.
Yeah, I don't know.
He's got to know.
Urban's head's starting to hurt, I think. So on that topic of kind of how he's approaching things, he had, and I saw it on Twitter come up later. I saw his interview with BTN right before half, and it's like it's a cupcake interview, right? You're up 35-7 at the break. He's like, what'd you do well? And he's got this look on his face, and he's like, I'm frustrated. Like, he's basically like, I'm frustrated. We didn't do enough there at the end of the half. I felt like the defense kind of took their foot off the gas a little bit. I'm going to go have a talk with them. And then he walked into the locker room.
Nice.
So here's Frost when asked about that post game.
Well, I did not like it. I thought the defense could have gotten a stop in the first half a couple times. You go up 21 points. You don't want to give them a touchdown and get them back in the game. And then we got the turnover, which we need more of those. But they had a chance to score again. I just want to make sure the guys kept playing as hard as they were playing in the first half. I think they did.
Good. It's good. That all checks out to me.
Yeah, and again, that's another way to the coach. I mean, that's how the coaches should be, is always mad at you, always thinking you can do better. At certain times, obviously celebrating your accomplishments and stuff like that. But, and that would be easy to do for Nebraska, to walk into that half up 35-7 and, maybe just kind of take it easy the next half and maybe not even win that half, probably win the game, but still not look great. They came out in the second half and from the word go, poured it on even more. And then I have to be pretty complimentary of the backups having, what was it, like an 8-minute drive to score a touchdown. It was
Smothers did a
just
nice
beautiful,
job. Completed a nice first down pass there. Yeah, he made a nice throw for sure. Even up 35-7 and a half, there was a way that game could have been a disappointment. And you just hope that you don't win 35-17 or something, whatever that looks like. And they kept to it. That's a good job by them tonight. And I love the attitude going into the Michigan game. All right, 402-464-5685, Husker Afterparty Postgame Show, brought to you by Southeast Community College and N Street Drive-In. Here's my thing on Nebraska's defense. I tweeted this out during the game. You look across the ball, and they have good players, and I don't want to take that away from them. So don't have that be what you take from this. When I look at this defense, it's not star-studded. They don't have a first-round draft pick. They don't have a guy like Sue who's just ruining every play, or a guy at the back end like they did, or in the middle level or the back end like they did even at UCF with Shaquem Griffin and Mike Hughes. I don't think they have really any of those guys. But man, this defense plays so well as a unit. And that's what happens when the experience and all that stuff comes together. They play hard as hell. They run to the football. They tackle well. When somebody misses one, the next guy's got them. They can go pretty deep on that defensive line. Their linebackers are tough and physical. And their corners do a pretty good job too. And the safeties come down the hill and hit pretty hard. It's just a really great team defensive unit. And you look at them, and I was talking to a couple people about this during the game. Like, Iowa's been doing this for 15 years.
Yeah.
But that's what it looks like. That's what it looks like to me. Like, there's no dudes on Iowa's defense. And they've had a couple go through there in the AJ Epinesa over the last couple of years, whatever it is. He was a 5-star.
Some pretty darn good defensive backs.
He was a good player, and they've had some good defensive backs, but you don't think about that defense and think about one guy. That's always a really good, solid unit who doesn't miss. They don't make mistakes, right? They don't screw up. And that's what Nebraska's defense is. And somehow together they're borderline dominant. It's a borderline dominant defense. And usually you don't have that with a good team defense unit. But man, that all the credit in the world there goes to, you go give credit to the players, but a lot of it goes to Eric Shenander for what he's created over the last 3 years.
Oh, yeah. I mean, and obviously it didn't start this way. It's slowly gotten better. And the strides to me at times through the years weren't enough to be overwhelmingly impressed. But, you know, I thought, especially with that game against Lincoln Riley, when he had the better of the offensive versus defensive unit there, that would probably open some eyes across the nation about this Eric Shenander guy. Mm-hmm. Like, that's a big win that you can get. And then, you know, to follow it up with what he did against Michigan State the second half. And then even, you know, tonight, you might not get a whole lot open up eyes across the nation for shutting down Pat Fitzgerald's offense too often, but, you know, it just continues.
I don't know. You might look at that thing come across the ticker and say 56-7.
Yeah. I mean, I just don't think, you predicted a shutout. I predicted them to score 6.
Yeah, fair.
They're just not a very good offense. But I mean, we did that because of the belief we had in the defense, because of the belief we had in Eric Shenander and where this thing's going to keep going. And I love the offense. I love all of that. I don't necessarily know if I'm bought into that happening the rest of the year, but what I am is that defense, game in, game out, is going to be very tough to score on. They're a little bit, you know, their total yards and stuff like that isn't as dominant as in Iowa or certainly Georgia at this point in time. So, I mean, they can get better, but like you said, it's really good for the talent that they have. And while you might think that they don't have first round talent, and they don't, they are starting. I mean, like you said, it's really the depth that's starting to impress me, because they can roll in, and they'll sub, you know, if they have the opportunity, 3 guys out at a time and not miss a beat with who they're bringing in at, you know, probably 9 out of the 11 positions or whatever. So they've got the depth built up. And there are a couple of guys that I think are, you know, when it may not be first round draft picks, but
there's pros
when you're not just pros, but and for the college level, I always say, and I love the pro discussion, but sometimes I just look right at the college level. You need first team all Big Ten guys.
Sure.
Luke Reimer might be that. JoJo Doman might be that.
Yeah.
They've got some guys that are really playing well. Damian Daniels could be that guy. And then, you know, some of those other guys are going to be fighting for those other, you know, second and third teams. So it's going to be interesting to see where it plays out. I love seeing Casey Rogers getting back on the field. He looked really good early in his career. I think he'll add more to it. And you know, just some of these guys getting better. You know, Heinrich might get hidden a little bit because the other, you know, Garrett Nelson and some of those other guys, Reimer, are taking the credit there, are getting more of the exposure there. But he's really solid. I mean, there's just not a weak link there on that defense.
Let me give you a good microcosm for just kind of what this has been over the last 3 years. So I wonder, and Garrett Nelson is the guy I'm going to use as the example here. So Garrett Nelson comes in the class of 2019. He gets on the field right away, and we're like, holy crap, Garrett Nelson, I don't think I really saw that coming, but he's got really high energy and a great motor, and he might not really know what to do, but he plays really hard. And I wondered, I was like, what's the ceiling on this guy? He's not the fastest guy in the world, right? The athletic the athletic features don't like blow you away or anything like that. I'm thinking, what's his Husker career look like? Is he a good 4-year player, or what happens to him? And I kind of thought that. I was like, yeah, he'll probably be a guy who's around for 4 years and ends up being a pretty good player for Nebraska just by longevity. Nope. That dude has gotten way better than I ever thought that he would get. he is one of the stars of this defense now. And he just keeps getting better and better every week. He knows what to do. He knows where to go. He still plays with that high effort energy and motor and stuff like that. And he's knocking down balls in passing lanes. He's sacking guys and doing the air guitar thing. Like, this guy's a budding star in Nebraska's defense. And that's how it's supposed to work. That's called development.
Yeah.
That word that we use, right?
I've heard of that before in past programs.
It's called development. And you turn a guy who maybe you weren't sure about, or was, projected to be a guy who eventually gets on the field into, he's coming into his own right now. And that's exactly what we're seeing with him. That's a microcosm of the whole thing. It is progressed. It has hit basically every check mark it's needed to defensively. The same cannot be said for the offense. It was a good night for the offense, but they've gone roller coastery. They've gone up and down. They've switched out guys. They've had crazy personnel changes over the last 3 years, just with what they've done and how they want to look on offense. The defense has been rock solid, steady all the way. And they deserve a lot of credit for that. It's coming to fruition.
Well, and I thought it was too cool. We talk about how good they do at getting people pumped over there at Memorial Stadium. They leaned into the 2009-2010 defense. They had a callback there, and it's time to do that. I mean, again, you don't have Ndamukong Suh there. That defense was so good that it's going to be hard to replicate any of those numbers. But when you talk about the best defenses since then, this has got to be it. I mean, you're not halfway through the season, and nobody's scoring more than 21 points on this defense. You're getting some points in special teams here and there. Illinois did, but you're holding 3 of your opponents to single-digit points. Oklahoma obviously down to 23, and some of those again not on the defense. Michigan State last week, again, same number, 23, but some of those on the defense.
Not 23.
You take at any time, for any defense, I'll always hold my opponent under 21, and I'll take me from there.
Yep.
Nebraska's defense is doing that in every game.
Yep, 100%. It's a really fun unit to watch, and that's another great thing about, and we can weave the crowd right back into it. Nothing like it when the defense gets a 3 and out, or the defense gets a stop, or the defense gets a turnover. That nothing gets the crowd into it like that. Yeah, the big plays are cool, and it's a nice buzz for a few minutes. But if you get that and then pair it along with a 3 and out or a pick on the other side, that's when the crowd can get on top of you. And Northwestern felt that in the first and second quarter.
And it's like, I don't know if it's just more believable that when the defense steps up and,
probably
because, maybe sometimes it's just like, well, if you get a big play here, yeah, but is that going to work? Or, did that guy slip or whatever? But the defense really does. I mean, I'll maybe, and this is maybe just a lot of football guys, maybe why I feel this way, but I'll take a good defense over a good offense any day of the week because they'll keep you in games.
100%. Like I said, 402-464-5685. Okay, here's what we're going to do. We got a few minutes left in this segment and still opportunities for you to get in touch with the show if you want to bounce anything off of us. I'd love to hear it. 402-464-5685. Let's go to about, I don't know, 11:15, 11:20. We'll do one more segment coming back after the hour here. But if you want to keep us here longer, the only way to do so is call in 402-464-5685. Once again, the Honda of Lincoln hotline in the Sartor Heyman text line. All right, a couple more bites here from Frost before we take a timeout here. Here's him on the Atmosphere Memorial Stadium tonight.
That was unbelievable. That thing in the end of the third quarter, wow. And I can't believe with the score there that many fans were there at the end. This goes to show you there's no place like Nebraska.
Where did that come from? Nebraska, we often, even if they win, there's something to complain about. It's like, it didn't look good. They were so hot tonight. Absolutely everything went well. Like even the in-game presentation was great. They moved the Killigan song out of there. They still found a way to play it. I know they want to try and do it. And then they did like a pyrotechnics light show in between the third and the fourth quarter. They had an 84-yard punt. It's like, stay hot, Nebraska. When you're feeling yourself, you're feeling yourself.
I missed the third quarter thing. I have to go back and look. I've seen some footage of it now on Twitter. But I mean, were they playing them?
They're doing AC/DC.
They're doing AC/DC. Okay.
Yeah. Of course.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. If there's one thing that people could rally around behind in this state, it's AC/DC, and I'm fine with that.
But again, I'll just go back to the fact, and yes, all the presentation stuff helped, and more than anything, the win, the way that it went about, the big plays, the defense helped. But it just, this state has starved for good football for so long that, I know that this isn't the biggest matchup in the world, but, obviously with COVID playing in and not getting to the night game at Memorial Stadium, it's something that everybody's just missed. And to be able to go back in there and believe that this team was going to be the better team, and, again, going into the game knowing that the defense was really darn good, it's just special. I mean, it brought feelings back to me that other games, I went to the Fordham game or whatever, or the Buffalo game, but even over, previous years on the Frost tenure where things haven't gone so great, even Mike Riley, I mean, it's just back to a belief that this team is good, and you can feel it throughout the stadium.
Yep. You'd like to have a better record, but they're starting to show you,
Yeah.
Like Frost has said it a lot over the last couple of years. I think this team is better than they're showing. They're starting to show it a little bit. So we'll see how that lands next week against Michigan. All right, we'll talk about that one as we come back. Once again, if you guys have any questions, thoughts you'd like to bounce off us, we're here for about 15 or 20 more minutes here on the Husker Afterparty Postgame Show on 93.7 The Ticket.
Last year, the average starting pay for an SCC truck driver training program graduate was $44,720. Southeast Community College can now make that a reality in only 8 weeks with its professional truck driver training class starting in October. SCC's fleet of 12 trucks and professional instructors will prepare you for a new career. You'll end the course with your Class A CDL. Learn more about SCC's professional truck driver training class at southeast.edu/truckdriver. SCC, your path to possible.
State Farm, this is Bill.
It finally got me, Bill.
What's that, Rick?
The Clark Street crater, the mother of all potholes.
Oh.
Year after rim-wrecking year, it's tormented the people of this town. It got me good.
But State Farm's got you too.
You hear that? You ain't nothing.
You trash talking a pothole?
Yes, I am.
Go with the one that's here to help life go right. State Farm.
Call your local State Farm agent, Vinny Krekak, at 402-474-1173.
Hey, it's Sean Callahan, and football season is here, and Tanner's Bar and Grill at 30th and Yankee Hill has food and drink specials every night for all the games. Enjoy jumbo pork tenderloin for $8.99 and 90-cent wings for Monday Night Football, or come for Thursday Night Football with chicken fried chicken, steak, or pork for just $9.99 and $20 Coors Light aluminum buckets. Watch college football on Saturdays with an Eggy sandwich for $9.99 and Coors Light specials, and catch NFL Sundays with Bloody Marys and more. That's Tanner's Bar and Grill at 30th and Yankee Hill.
Early break with Sip and Jake.
Like, it's almost like what I read here is it's surreal. According to Pro Football Focus data, Michigan State blitzed Nebraska 4 times on 47 dropbacks, but got pressure 28 times, including 7 sacks. Okay? They blitzed only 4 times on 47 dropbacks, but got pressure 28 times.
Early break with Sip and Jake from 6 to 8 every weekday morning.
Hi, Sean Callahan here. In 2013, I first came across Koppel Chevrolet GMC in Louisville, and I've been a customer ever since. What's kept me coming back to Koppel is the people. Oftentimes, owner Bob Koppel and his son Brandon are right there with you in the showroom, walking you through the process. There's no runaround at Koppel. It's a hardworking Nebraska company built on honest, small-town values. So make that short drive to Louisville or visit them online at koppelcars.com.
Why pay for average lawn care when you can get better elsewhere? Blades Lawn Care is the place to go for excellent service for homeowners associations and commercial or residential lawn work. As we enter the fall with aerating and lawn care ahead of winter, also prepare for 2022 maintenance for your lawn. Call Rich today at 402-730-6320 to learn more or to schedule services for the fall or to look ahead to 2022. Blades Lawn Care, trusted service for over 10 years.
You could celebrate a Nebraska football win with chips or wings and your favorite beverage, but Beatrice Bakery has all sorts of cakes to celebrate all victories this fall. Coffee cake, breakfast bread, artisan cakes, and especially Grandma's fruit cake. No one remembers who brought the chips, but everyone remembers who brought the cake. Make your parties memorable and your Mondays at the office better with cakes from Beatrice Bakery. They ship nationwide. Check out BeatriceBakery.com, proud sponsors of the Nebraska Shrine Bowl. Welcome to our world of yum.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet, KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket. Back to the Husker Afterparty Postgame Show. Brought to you by Southeast Community College on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back. Husker Afterparty Postgame Show brought to you by Southeast Community College and N Street Drive-In. Connor Happer, Jake Bachhoven with you after Nebraska's 56-7 win over Northwestern tonight. A lot of things to like. The crowd, the offensive line, the lack of special teams at all, the defense. A lot of good stuff tonight. Let's hear from you guys as well, though, here, 402-464-5685. We got about 15 or 20 minutes left here. Let's go to Nebraska Nolan, who joins us now. Hey, Nolan.
Hey, Carter. Man, I got to tell you what, that atmosphere, it was awesome. I hadn't been able to make it to a game yet this year, been working or out of town or whatever, and that was cool. The night game, man, that atmosphere was lit. And I got to tell you, that at the end of the third quarter, they're turning down the lights there, and then the light show where they're lighting off fireworks, down on the field, and it's not just like, pretty fireworks. It's like booms, right?
Yeah.
And then as they're doing that, it's Thunderstruck, and everybody gets chills when you hear Thunderstruck. You feel it. It hits different, man. And they got the red lights, the red burns brighter all across the video boards, and the stadium's glowing with the smoke and the red. It was cool. Everyone's in there chanting Thunder,
Yeah.
It was something else. I hope they do it for all night games. That is pretty cool.
I'm with you, Nolan. I think they found something that they like finally after the third quarter. Now, once again, I think the outcome probably had a lot to do with the way people feel about it. But for sure, I think they tried for a long time to the template was always jump around, right? Like, let's just say that the template was always jump around for Wisconsin. It's like, we want to have a cool organic fan participation thing that doesn't seem like forced, and we want to try and make it ours.
Yeah.
Unique. And they did the let me clear my throat, which I thought was good.
That worked for Mike Riley there,
but it was inconsistent in the way that they kind of presented it.
Yeah.
And then they did the Killigans thing, and what they just decided was, let's give it to them. Instead of trying to make it happen, like we're waiting for something to happen, let's just give it to them. And here it is. Here's the light show. Here's the fire. Here's the fireworks. And that's a good kicking off point, I think, for it.
Yeah, and again, but a lot of it is just the game action. I mean, if Nebraska's down 17-7 going into the fourth quarter, you're not as excited about it, and it doesn't work as well. But it just, everything kind of worked together tonight. And again, I think a lot of that had to do with certainly scoring 21 points in the first quarter, but just, scoring so quickly on the first drive, you kind of felt good about going into this game. Now you have a 7-point lead. You can just kind of cheer, they're hot. You can just it just took off from the get-go.
Yeah.
And it was awesome. And, but it do give them a lot of credit. I will say this: if I have one critique about the stadium presentation, it would be the score update. I know they have the sideline reporter doing it right now.
Yeah,
it just doesn't even sound. It sounds weird. It doesn't.
I don't know why
great.
she's doing highlights. Like I
don't mind. I love that. As a college football fan, I love to get the update.
She doesn't have like she has to announce them though.
That's really. It seems like too much for her to do. Like down there.
And then there's also
just have somebody in a booth do it. Maybe.
So then Trey McGowan's and Bryce McGowan's and Verge are standing there, and they're trying to get them involved too. And they run out of time, and the ref comes over, and he's like, "Start the play clock."
Yeah. I noticed that when I went to the Buffalo game. It was even worse though. They're like waiting out there, like, let her update this game. That so
there was a good cheer when they found out Notre Dame lost. It's like,
yes, that was, which happened like in the afternoon, way earlier. Like I knew that like 2 hours ago.
Notre Dame lost. Let's take another phone call here from Steve on the Husker After Party Postgame Show. Good evening, Steve.
Hey guys, thanks for taking my call.
Sure.
I'd like to comment on Martinez. They said how confident he looks and everything. How much do you think that has to do with, he knew they were replacing some of the line, changing things up. I think he thought, hey, I might have a shot. They're going to give me some time. He's had line problems, all year, as we've, everybody's commented on how the line is, not held up their end on the offensive side.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm thinking his confidence and the way he played kind of loose has a lot to do with, hey, they're going to try some different guys in the line. Maybe I'll get some time, and maybe they'll quit. Defense will quit living in the backfield all night. I mean, there's been numerous games where we can't even get a playoff because their defense, the other team's defense, is in the backfield before we can even hand the ball off.
Yeah,
I think a lot of it has to do with hey, they're going to change things up on the line, and I think his confidence came from they are watching the tape. They can see they're getting knocked off the ball. If you control the line of scrimmage, you're going to usually win the game.
Steve, I'm with you 100%, man. I'm totally with you, and I've always said this. I'll add to it. Thanks for the call. I've always felt like, and whether this is fair or not, I've always felt like Martinez is a rhythm guy. So when you are running for your life immediately when the game starts, that's no place to get into a rhythm. When you hit a 75-yard bomb on the first play of the game, on the first offensive series, that was it the first play, the second play? First or second
play, yeah.
First or second play? 70. Yeah, thank you, Big Sky. Second play of the game. That's a good way to get into a rhythm, right? Or hitting a couple short passes.
And give Toure credit for adjusting on that ball,
because it could have been picked.
That was going right for an interception. The cornerback, safety, whoever it was waiting for it. Was like just playing center field on it, and then Toure made the adjustment, went under and got it, and started the whole thing off. But I think it is a good point and great call, because it's easy, and we're gonna talk about it all week about how rushing lanes were opened up. And so Nebraska only had to pass 21 times, and Martinez himself only had to pass 17 times, but he didn't need any Houdini work to get a pass off. The protection was good, even on some plays where he didn't make the best decision. It was pretty darn good. And again, Northwestern,
Prohaska can move I'm no offensive lineman like guru here, but he can move it a little bit. He's got good feet.
Yeah. And maybe we should give credit to somebody who hasn't had it a whole lot over these years, Mario Verduzco. I know that a lot of people haven't been impressed with his quarterback development. I don't want to just give all the credit to Adrian. Certainly most of it, but that his job is to get him better, and he certainly got better this year.
And Logan looks like a capable backup.
Yeah,
at this point, I still, whatever happens with Adrian this offseason, I still don't know like what the answer is in 2022.
Boy, that's going to be a huge decision after this.
I don't know what that is yet. So just put that one in the memory bank for about 8 weeks from now. But Logan's a very capable backup at this point, I think. And they put him in for that drive against Michigan State last week, and he held his own. And luckily, Adrian, like a hero, came back into the game. And that whole thing happened. But definitely the quarterbacks have progressed with some help from the pieces around them. There's no doubt about it.
And it's a big week too for Adrian in as far as the top Big Ten quarterback battle goes, because Tagovailoa, obviously he's out of the running now after a lot of interceptions against Iowa. And so you continue to watch him move up, and I thought that was who he's competing with. Maybe CJ Stroud is probably, I'm pretty sure he had a good day. I didn't look at his individual numbers, but they just destroyed Rutgers. But he's got a chance to be an all Big Ten quarterback. And I didn't think that I thought that maybe he was who he was. He had peaked or whatever, which was, a solid, starting quarterback. But not maybe an all Big Ten performer, he's stepped it up.
He looks confident. That's for sure. That's a good call, Steve. Let's go to JR here on the Honda of Lincoln Hotline. JR, you're on the Husker After Party Postgame show. Go ahead.
Man, that was fun.
Yeah,
I was
that
watching
was.
it at home, but man, that was fun. It felt like a different type of blowout win. It wasn't just like, okay, let's get the game over with. We won, we blew them out. It was fun from that first 70-yard bomb all the way till the last kneel down. Yant looked awesome. It was great to see him. He was a punishing runner, but he was also shifty and smooth. And that first long run that he had, he juked out that Northwestern linebacker to get outside. And that was impressive. And then Adrian, I thought it's amazing to see what he can do when he has time, and he's got a good line in front of him to give him time to operate back there. So I feel like this next week, it's not going to be like a relaxing week. And Scott was very focused, which I think is great. Mm-hmm. Kind of a Nick Saban type attitude at the podium. So yeah, it's just great feeling to have a win, and yeah, just a great day to be a Husker fan.
Job not done, Steve. Or JR, thanks for the call. Appreciate it. Once again, 402-464-5685. That's the attitude I think they kind of came with after the game, or Frost has brought to the table now. And it's not. They haven't arrived. They've beaten 3 teams that they were clearly supposed to beat. They played really well tonight. They've left a couple out there, but there's still a lot to get this season. There's a ton left on the table.
Well, it's nice to be here because you feel like, that Nebraska's going to have so many chances, and they might have blown the first 2 against Oklahoma and Michigan State to really put this program from, hey, it's nice that Scott Frost is getting it going again, to, hey, look out for this in the future. The rest of this year and moving into the future, this thing is finally where it needed to be for you to believe in it, and that it's going to be a top 25 team, be a yearly contender for the Big Ten West. But you need a game to put yourself on the map. You can beat Wisconsin and Purdue and Minnesota and get to a bowl game and feel this year. Do what you haven't done. Beat a top 10 team like Michigan. That's this week. You can get it done. You're going to have a few more chances probably against Ohio State and Iowa, but you can't let them all go by without taking that huge step that the program needs desperately. Not a Mike Riley 3-6 knock off a top 10 team. Yeah. It's hey, we're getting better. We're finally here.
October 9th. Yep. Not when you're 4-7 and you beat a top 5 team at home, which is great.
We'll take any top 10 wins, right? But
yeah.
But this is an arrived type of moment, and we talked about how weird it would be to have Harbaugh and Frost on the hot seat all offseason. Well, there's no hot seat necessarily for this game. It's a huge one for both programs, and I'm so excited for this week of radio just to get into it, because in 2 special programs, 2 high-profile coaches, just watching those helmets collide on the field, and
2 awesome defenses.
Just great defenses. Just the storylines are going to be there everywhere, man. And thanks to the Nebraska football team for putting us here, because there's been a lot of chances for those games on the schedule, and then by the time you arrive there, you're just going, this isn't what I would hope. But Frost, Harbaugh, 2021 is going to be a good one.
We got what we wanted.
That's right.
We got a few more minutes left here, so last call here, 402-464-5685. Last call for phone calls. Anyway, if you would like to do that, we'll get to a few texts here. Oh, yeah, nice. How about my guy, Matt Masker? Truck the guy in the quarterback draw.
Yeah, that's right, he did.
Masker is a big guy. I watch him warm up in pregame. He's got a little linebacker to him.
He's won that 3rd quarterback job. I think it's over. Unfortunately, I know a lot of people want to see
where's
the
Heinrich
freshman.
Harburg?
He didn't win it.
Is he okay? He's out there.
Yeah, he's helping support the team.
He's out there. He's doing signals.
Yeah,
stuff like that. Still, the more of a wild horse vibe to him, kind of like, I don't know what's going to happen on this play. Probably not the type of guy you want in a 56-7 game.
Yeah.
Masker a little steady, and if he has to truck a guy on a draw, then that'll get the crowd going. Same old. All right, good stuff. We got about a minute left here on the show. As we Bach, I think you did a pretty good job there setting the tone for the Michigan week. Very, very, very excited. 2 awesome defenses, 2 I mean, Michigan definitely has the advantage in the run game, or at least they've consistently done it this year.
Yeah.
But Nebraska feels good about themselves. They felt good about themselves, I think, going into Oklahoma and played well enough to win. I think they felt good about themselves going into Michigan State and played well enough to win. They did it tonight. Let's try it again.
Yep.
Let's try one more time.
They're going to have the quarterback advantage, as I mentioned earlier in the show, and boy, are they going to have the atmosphere advantage. It's going to be tough. Let's make it tough for Michigan coming in next week.
It's going to be hot in Memorial Stadium next week. We can't wait. Yeah, that third quarter light show. If we got a tie game heading into the fourth quarter, watch out. I might catch on fire.
They stole jump around today. Don't let them do it to you, Huskers.
We're done for tonight. Thank you for listening. Tune in for all the shows on Monday. See ya.
Welcome to today's episode